test, you want to make sure everything's wet down so that way it's washed off any extra fines, any particles. So what you do is you dunk everything in the water, including your rods and your cone. And with the cone, you mostly just want to kind of get the inside wet. So then when you do slump, those little fins on the bottom, you actually have to stand on them the entire time you're loading the cone. This is where it gets fun. So you don't lift your feet up at all. You have to keep pressure on it. Even when you step off of it, you got to keep pressure on the handles too. So you fill it a third of the way full, third of the volume of the cone. When you use a rod, you want to make sure that it's bolted on both sides. You don't want the flat end, because that can like smash particles and whatnot. That could smash the aggregate a little bit more. So this one, you're going to go all the way to the ground. 6. And you rod 25 times in a circular and a spiral pattern. So that way you push the concrete down to all the edges of the slump cone. And then you fill it another third. And as you can see at the bottom, some of the liquid is actually running out of it. That's fine. You're not going to get a complete seal on it when you're standing on it like this. So then when you do this, I always found it easiest to kind of measure on the outside of your cone. You want to go about an inch down into the bottom layer. You don't want to go all the way to the bottom because then it can mess up your slump. Again, every layer you rod 25 times. Fill it up the final third. Now this time you kind of want to leave it overflowing so that way you have extra in here that you can strike off. Strike off meaning like make it flat and whatnot. Alright, so then same thing, you only want to go about an inch down with the second layer. So about right here. And since the level fell below the top of the slump cone, I got to add another layer and do the rod 25 times, but only into the top layer. And it's going to make a mess. Alright, so after that, when I level it out, it's going to strike off clean with that. So the best way I've found to level it out is you actually put the rod between your legs. And you kind of do a sawing motion back and forth. And you want to rotate the rod a little bit so that way you don't catch on anything. Alright, so that's the level with that. So then, before you pull the cone off, you got to make sure you have everything out of the way in case it spreads out a lot. So then you take this and you got to clean out everything away from your cone because that would alter the test. That would interfere with the test. So everything cleaned away from here. All right. Now that I have this done, you want to make sure your ruler and your tape measure and your rod are still close to you. So then you put your weight on the handles, you step off, and within 5 seconds you have to slowly pull the cone off. Like nice, even, you don't want to like jiggle it around or nothing. You tip the cone upside down, set it like right next to it but not touching it. Put this guy on top. You want to get as close to the center as you can. And we've got a slump of about 3 1/4. And that's your slump test.